Namaste. I'll be talking today about Kaliyug. Basically, the four yugas given in the Hindu mythology and the scriptures: Kaliyug, Satyug, Dwapar and Treta Yuga. So, I will give you my understanding. I've been doing some inquiry, some kind of contemplation about the yoga, and I will explain about that. And though I have covered it in my other video, human science. Other thing I will cover about is while explaining how the yugas are happening based on my understanding, and why do we behave like this, why there is a general toxicity in the environment and during Kali Yuga, and how we are progressing or going back, degrading basically in this Kali Yuga. What is the reason for our such behavior? I wrote a book, Social Pandemic, where I'm explaining the different problems the society is facing, but then I've also written that the reason is capitalism and consumerism. And okay, if capitalism, then there is why there is capitalism, why there is greed. So it is greed and those negative qualities of human which have actually led to this creation of all these kind of concepts which are basically manipulating the society, and today we are going more negative and more toxic and more toxic. So what is basically lacking in today's society, what I see, is majorly trust. The trust factor is completely gone. We are all struggling for sustenance and survival. I won't say that we are struggling. We are struggling some of our own doing, because our expectations and ambitions are pretty huge. It's very materialistic. So we have ignored the relationships and the human factor, which is very important, and living in a community and that bonhomie and togetherness, bonding, everything has been left behind in a chase for materialistic ambitions, which are basically due to the manipulation of capitalists for driving consumerism. So we are in this whirlpool catch-22 situation, and we have actually forgotten that what was that so important and necessary. It was like a default setting for humans to be in that default setting, but we have broken that, and we are having our own settings based on the materialistic ambitions and aspirations, leaving behind everything. So when that becomes a prime factor, money becomes a prime factor, then everything else is forgotten, and because of that we lose trust, because we are only thinking in terms of money and those materialistic benefits from anything which we do. Meeting anyone, we are completely looking for, it's not just materialistic benefits, but we are all hungry for fame and acknowledgement and acceptance. The hunger for fame, like in social media there is a hunger for likes, hunger for views. It's not that somebody is seriously sharing, very interested in sharing some experience and knowledge, but there is a hunger for fame, and so it's a chaotic environment we are in. Like what people are sharing on social media platform, is it valuable, or like I came on LinkedIn after 2 years of break, and I saw it's filled with a lot of people giving sharing some kind of wisdom. So there is a rush to share. So LinkedIn is now become like a wisdom center. It looks to me like a wisdom center where there are hundreds of coaches and practitioners and preachers. Everybody is like out to give knowledge and gyan. So why is that? Because there are two kind of people now there who still floating around. People don't want to get out of professional life. Once those who have finished that life, they are not willing to let go that existence, that professional existence. They are not able to mentally resign or retire from that. So they now they have a lot of frustration, and they are feeling that they're being left out. Like it's like a rat race. Somebody is having fame and you feel you didn't get that fame, so you are still struggling. So that struggle, so you feel that is only life. So, and then also there is a huge unemployment. Due to huge unemployment, there is a lot of people who are actually floating on, who have converted themselves to knowledge sharing and healing and executive coach and coaches for senior leadership coaches and all that stuff. All kind of people are there, and they have either left the corporate job or they have lost the corporate job, but they are still floating around there because they feel that's only what life is. So being there and being accepted, whether you are earning or not earning, whether you are really into that profession, but for people today, that's life. Like, there is nothing called retirement due to social media. They still want to float around there and still trying to make money out of that. Now, for whatever reason, somebody must be having financial issues, but all these issues are also self-created because we want to live that kind of life. We are in that kind of hype and fool's paradise. So that's a kind of and chaotic environment we are trying to exist and sustain. So I'm just explaining one facet of our society from the professional point of view, what's happening, what changes are happening. So it's important to give some view of social decay which is happening in the society and different reasons for that before I really jump onto explaining Kaliyug. Why do we say in Kaliyug this will happen? So I'll come back to that. We are in Kaliyug, and in Kaliyug the mental faculties and the physical faculties of the people are not so developed. This is a general statement. It's not that everybody is like that, but majority is like that, and there is an impact due to the era or the yug, Kaliyug we are in. That yug creates underdeveloped mental faculties, least developed. So why are there 4 yugs? 4 yugs are, I think a lot of us will know if we do a little bit of search, that the sun goes around another star. The sun is revolving around another star. So and so when the sun is revolving another star, there is a circle. It's in a circular orbit or a circular plane, or rather it's elliptical plane. The orbits are all kind of elliptical. They are not perfect circle. So the distance when they traverse in that orbit changes. It is not constant. The radius is not constant. It is an elliptical orbit. That's been observed by seeing the position at different point of time and the distance. So when there are 4, so what has been done, this revolution of the sun around another star is divided into 4 parts, 4 quadrants. Even if you see in our corporate world, a lot of analysis is done and we break things into 4 parts or 6 parts or 2 parts. So we divide this cycle into 4 parts, 4 quadrants. Like Gartner, they do all the analysis based on 4 quadrants. They put the companies into different quadrants based on their performance. So some companies on the top performing quadrant, some in the worst performing quadrant. So this Kaliyug, these yugas are also, theory has been made to just describe the impact of the revolution of the sun around the star, what impact it will have on the life on the planet. So what happens is, in this whole universe, this is a dance of forces of nature. Forces of nature are every celestial body. Every celestial body is having its own set of forces. The star is a huge source of energy. So it is the force which the star gives is huge compared to the inert planets. Planets don't have their own source of energy like that. They also have their energy. They also have their radiations. They also have their EM field, electromagnetic field. So this radiation which is emitted by a different celestial body, depending upon what exactly it is, it's a planet or it's a star, so it differs, and that collective energy is constantly working on every other celestial body. Or in terms of Earth, we are a planet, and on Earth, so we will be impacted by the sum total of all the energies radiating from all the celestial bodies in this universe. But now, based on the distance of each body and its intensity of radiation, collectively will have its impact. Some star which is very far, we are not in a position to measure the fields, and actually there is no scientific method literally available to measure their radiations and how much it is reaching here. But logically, if you see, when any body is emitting, it will have some effect, reducing effect as the distance goes. Now, what is the intensity and what is the distance, how it changes, that we don't know, but yeah, there will be a impact. So the collective, so if I only look at star and the star around which the sun is revolving, even that star will have some impact on the life on planet. So as the distance changes for the sun in its elliptical orbit, when it is at the max, when it's the least, it will be at a maximum distance, at the least distance, and an average distance. So the max and least, maximum and least distance, minimum distance from that star of sun will have a 180-degree impact. So one will be Kaliyug, one will be Satyug. So the energy which is required, if it is optimal, so it will have the best effect on the life on the planet, and the energy which will have worst effect, we will have the bad effect on the planet, the life on the planet. And then there are other two quadrants which are like balanced. So like Treta Yuga and Dwapar Yuga, they are the transition into the bad and worse. So if you see that, now what effect the energy has? So we are all energy beings. We all have our own electromagnetic fields. We are actually machines, like machines. So if we are all designed to operate in a certain environment, so we can only exist on this planet. I mean, that's my guess. Maybe there may be a planet where we can exist, but right now we have been created to live on this planet by the Creator. When we have been created to live on this planet, we have been provided certain environmental condition on which we will be able to live. Now there will be a kind of a band under which we will operate. So we will flourish in the middle of the band, and in the extremes we will have challenges. So whether it is extreme cold or extreme hot, just from the temperature point of view, but different. So whatever we create, whatever even humans create, they have operating range. We don't create something to operate under 100 degrees centigrade. Like mobile phones, most of the electronic gadgets, they will be designed to operate, max temperature will be around 50-55. They will not operate beyond this. They are not designed to operate beyond this because they will change their properties completely. So if I am only now restricting myself to the humans, because we want to study the impact of this particular period of quadrant we are in, where we are having most underdeveloped mental faculties and physical faculties. Everything is underdeveloped, and that's why there is a lot of toxicity in the environment. And that correction will happen, but it is gradual and it will take time, because nature has to do the balance. So nature is trying to do the balance, but that's a chaos we are in. We are in a natural chaos. So these energies which are impacting and creating, which are not conducive for the for the good living sustenance of the human life, they basically impact the functioning of the brain because brain is the main center of the human's activity. It controls everything. It creates all the processes, all the signals from the sensory organs, and it generates all the thoughts. So if the brain is not being provided the ideal conditions, if the environmental conditions created in this quadrant, in this Kaliyug, are not favorable for the human brain to function properly, adequately and optimally, so it's like we are in a way malfunctioning. We are working at our extremes. Extreme environmental condition. So if a machine is working at extreme environmental condition, so its performance will be hampered because it will create different kind of energies. It will have a problem in processing. It will not process correctly because it will malfunction. Because if it is malfunctioning, whenever it is processing some formulas. So there will be some so it's all mathematics. So I'm not touching about mathematical relation of the universe that we have with the cells. So if you see one video of Tesla, so Nikola Tesla, he has defined how this mathematics cells, they vibrate in a mathematical way, 3, 6, 9. So it scales up. So we are in a scalar ratio with the universe. So it is vibrating in a synchronicity, in a rhythm. So I'm not touching that. So coming back that this human brain has been subjected to this extreme conditions due to the distance of sun from the star during this quadrant which we call Kaliyug. So that's one reason which I think looks very logical. And if you see the brain or the human, and we understand, and just to make it more simple, I will say if we go to some nice place where there's cool breeze and good weather, we say good weather, bad weather, good weather, bad weather. So even those transient changes within the planet and makes us feel different. And if we cannot run if you are in India and it's summertime and its temperature is now touching 45, 47 in Rajasthan, like some places, hot places, you can't go for a run there. Can you go for a run? You cannot. Your body is just resisting that. It will not function. It will have its breaking points. It is running at extremes. So you cannot endure that. The body cannot endure. Its systems will malfunction and brain will malfunction. It is telling you that this body cannot function, so you can't carry out this activity. The brain is constantly telling you can't carry out this activity, otherwise you will collapse, you will dehydrate. So you need different ingredients to operate in that environment. You need constant hydration. Like just 2 weeks back it was very hot, so people were drinking a lot of water. I was drinking a lot of water. So the consumption of water changes when it is very hot. So you need more water element, you need some more other, you reduce the earth element, you reduce the food intake, you increase the liquid intake. So all these changes the body demands because body needs certain environment. It has a option of adjusting to these changing environment, but then again there is a limit to that. So when that environment is changing due to the sun's position of the star, that's why the ideal environment for the brain to be fully functional, to fully exploit its potency changes. The brain is not able to function to its fullest capability in this particular quadrant due to the celestial movement. I think it's pretty logical and simple, I think. And because of that, this Kaliyug, our behavior has been like that, and as more and more changes happen, and apart from that, it's compounded by many other factors now, because negativity triggers more negativity, and it actually triggers, it doesn't just trigger, it explodes. It triggers exponentially the negativity. Like if you think one negative thought leads to multiple negative thoughts. Simple, like you speak a lie. When you speak a lie, that's a negative activity, and to cover that lie, you speak multiple lies. So one negative thought which made you speak a lie will lead to many more thoughts of speaking lie to cover that lie. So you are constantly creating more negativity. So this negativity, the negative triggers inherently coming from this particular yuga are triggering more negativity in you, more and more negativity in you, and that's why all the optimal qualities of the human, of like selfless or trustworthy, trusting, no ego, not greedy, and caring, all that is going away because we are becoming jittery actually, because we are not in the ideal condition. So we just don't know what's happening. So we are the overall feeling is of insecurity. There's a huge feeling of insecurity. So because of insecurity, there is a social isolation. We are getting into social isolation because now we don't trust, because there is insecurity. Because when something wrong is happening and you have no idea why is this happening, so you become insecure. And when you become insecure, you isolate because you lose the trust. You don't trust anyone because you just don't know who's doing what. So because of that, there is a huge amount of insecurity and fear, and you're afraid, and you have all kind of fear of sustenance, fear of dying. So all those fears come up, and they are triggering multiple other negative tendencies. So ultimately, the trust is you're losing trust, and that's why you are getting isolated. And when you get isolated, then the next step is you go into a kind of a mental. So there is a huge amount of mental health issue now. So mental health issues. So this compounding effect, which is coming, a negative effect, which is triggering another negative effect, is actually making this world a very toxic place. And we are constantly blaming each other. We are fighting with each other. There is a lot of aggression. There is aggression. So there are like a war at a family level, at a community level, at an organization level, at a larger level, political level, country level, global level. So there is a constant aggression. The building block, the cell is aggressive. The cell is vibrating at a very dangerous, vibrating very dangerously. It's vibrating somehow to closer to a collapse. So it is in a very jittery state. So in that kind of state we are in. So that this explains why we are behaving like that. But that doesn't deny that we cannot recognize that, because we have intelligence. And we can analyze this and try to get away from that and try to be in an ideal condition. So you have to see what the body needs, what your mind needs. So first thing is, if people who are a little aggressive and they go to some nice place and the weather is beautiful, so they will cool off, the aggression will reduce, and they will start enjoying. And if they go back to the nature, so they will see. So realizations will happen that materialism is not needed, and we don't need much. We need to just be together and talk and be happy. So those things will start changing. And but if you continue to sustain this artificial environment created in the city, then there will be problems, because one is the effect of the yuga, and then next is the effect of the artificiality which we have created, and we have drifted away from the nature. So all these compounding and creating all kind of chaos. So this is what has to be thought of, and that's what I thought I will explain here about this particular thing. And there is one more aspect which I was thinking about, is the function of the humans, and there was something about pineal gland and consciousness, but I think I will talk about those. I don't recollect now. I think this is enough for explaining the yoga theory. And I just want to add that this about the universe, the whole universe is actually, every body is rotating. We are in a circular motion. This whole everything is in a circle. Like every body is rotating, and every body is revolving. So there is a constant circular motion. This universe is in. It's a circular dance. It's a circular dance. Right from cell level, the atoms they are. And everything is in orbit, like the electrons are orbiting around the atom, and atom is probably orbiting another atom probably, and Earth is the moon. The satellites are orbiting around the moons. what we call moons are orbiting around the planet, and the planet is orbiting around the solar system, the star to which it belongs to, and that star is orbiting around another star, and probably that star is also orbiting around another star. But this will not go infinitely, because there will be some close. So they will all be coming back. So our star also has some star revolving around it. So this loop will close somewhere, because frankly nothing is infinite. Because infinite, I spoke about this. My understanding was that when we say this world has no beginning or end, then that can be depicted by a circle. So if in a circle, we are in a circle, we are only getting composed and decomposed. As a human being, as any of the species are actually they are composition. And this very important thing I want to talk about was imagination. This all is imagination. This is a very important interesting topic. I think I will make a separate video about imagination, because everything is, it's not that we are imaginary, but we are somebody's imagination. We are created by, when somebody imagines something, then only we got created. Like we created many things, so it came out of some imagination that we can create something like that. Like bullock cart, initially two-wheel cart, so somebody created a two-wheel cart, then four-wheel cart, then motorized transport. So we kept on creating, but they were all triggered by somebody's imagination that can we create something like that. So we just got together whatever is available and used some invented some technology by understanding, by doing some philosophical analysis and self-inquiry, which the scientists do. And they'll be constantly thinking and observing, and then finding out doing some analysis and finding some results, and then creating this science, the modern science also. So this is all imagination. So we are also, in short, I will talk a little bit now also. In short, we are also imagination. We are also whoever created us would have imagined that let's create these species. So this planet got created. Now the theory of creation of planet and celestial beings is very vague in the modern astronomy. They say there was a gas nebula, so there was a disk of gas and dust which came together, created, and then they collided, then some meteoroids collided, and they got together, and then they formed a planet. But I mean, this doesn't really sound so logical to me. But like we are also being created. So there were 5 elements created. So we were created with a basic. So whatever you create need some ingredients. So with those ingredients you create. So whoever wanted to create this planet or the life here, they created some ingredients, and that ingredient got created as per our understanding out of sound, and sound to wind and then fire, and then water, and then the earth. So that's how the sequence of 5 elements came. This is what has been written in the scriptures also, and it does seem there's a logic in this, but you don't know, because whatever we can perceive and hear or find logical, we feel that is the fact. And this is the biggest mistake humans are making, because whatever they find and feel is right, they call that as the fact. That may not be the fact. So whoever created us, this planet, so planet is basically earth element. So earth element has all kind of different elements inside, those metals and minerals. So how it got created, I think it's a mix up of different things. So it must be also created out of these basic elements, and what size and all, so from where it came, those elements they came in the space, and from the space they got together and they created. And how did this earth had this position? How do they position the planets? How do they position the stars? Who decides that? Where will this star, who create a solar system, and how big is the universe? There are so many galaxies. Recently James Webb telescope has found so many more huge galaxies, and it is defying the Big Bang theory also, that there are galaxies which existed even so many billions of years before this Big Bang was supposed to be postulated. So we are just completely clueless about that. But anyway, that's a different interesting field of study. And I was into astronomy in my college. I was interested in astronomy. I did some study, but I never thought like this, the way I'm thinking today. So what the point of interest is that we are in a yuga, because I wrote this book 2 years back. I was not sure about this yoga theory, that how does this affect. So while I was having a discussion on astrology with somebody, and I said, what is the rationale and the science behind that you say these stars make this effect, these stars make this effect. I will have a talk about this also, because I have got some understanding of why the astrology works, why the celestial science impacts our behavior, how the time of birth and place of birth make an impact. So I will talk about that also. That I have some understanding. I have done some analysis, and it is interesting to share that, because everybody is doing analysis. There are a lot of things in this world, this cosmic science, which everybody is guessing and trying to extrapolate from these kind of analysis. So I thought, why not I also do some analysis. You would have to be a scientist in some Ivy League university to be able to make statements and being accepted and being promoted. Anybody can do this kind of analysis, because we all are inherently all scientists. We have our capability to do analysis, and this is what people did and the yogis did. And how much they came to know, really don't know, but we all can do that analysis and come to some conclusion. But it doesn't, I don't know what kind of knowledge we'll get and what will be the outcome from knowing all this. The point is, what kind of outcome we'll have, and how will it matter to us in this life. That probably, the most important thing is that we should become detached from this body. Understanding life, we get detached and we understand the reality. We understand the overall picture of the universe, so we don't get drowned in these worldly nonsense, day-to-day worldly nonsense. We get disconnected from this, and we float above this and live more peacefully and happy. I won't say happy, but peaceful. It's all about peace. Happy is not that you are laughing whole day. I mean, it's not, happiness is that internal happiness, the content which you need. So you are not running after anything. You don't have desires. Don't have unnecessary desires. You are just, what is your basic need, and you run that routine every day in your life. So you have defined some kind of sustenance, and that is very minimal, I think. If I make that statement here, people will be a little shocked, but you can sustain with very little, actually. So if you can create that little sustenance, and you can be content. It's all about content. The goal is lost. The goal is money. And even people who are selling spiritual courses and this and that nonsense, they are all running after money. They are all creating money, but they are selling. What they're selling, they're not what they're preaching or they're trying to sell. They're not following that. Because in fact, last year I went to teach in some school in Rishikesh. They called me for teaching meditation, and that guy told me, I am a businessman. This is what the people need. Just give this. Don't do this and that. So he and this is what people are looking for. People are not looking for real knowledge. Majority are now so lost in this slush of this worldly nonsense that you can tell them. But there were some interesting people who are keen to understand this. So if those kind of people are there and they are serious, they have to really find the path to self-inquiry and do that analysis. But what happens, this is a long process. Some people are unable to do it, but if they have the urge to do it, and they can find somebody, like if they find me, that I can have a great discussion with them and open up their mental faculties, and then they can tread their path on their own. So they can get a direction if somebody like me can guide them. So that kind of guidance is needed probably, and that's helpful. But after that, you have to tread it on your own. You can't be just listening. You have to be discovering yourself, and you have to give a lot of effort needed. But it's challenging, because when you are young, you have responsibilities, you don't have the time, you feel so it's not easy. But these are hard decisions to take. Deflect yourself from the materialistic world and go to the real world and live real normally and in a humble way, in a modest way, in a simple way. So if you're willing to accept that and change, go away from the way the whole world is running. So that's a difficult call at a young age. For me at 58 and 50s, in the 50s it's easy because I've gone through all that nonsense and I kind of somehow achieved all my materialistic aspirations or professional goals or personal goals. Now I have that time to devote to this. So my transformation happened 10 years back, and slowly I could go through that phase of life and now I am exploring this. Thank you.